welcome to Living with Mary J. So glad that you're here today. I'm just very excited about today's show. We're going to talk about being taken advantage of, your kindness being taken advantage of. I had this happen to me, and it's happened a lot in my life, and I think we need to talk about it. It's like really, we need to talk about when your kindness is being taken advantage of. So stay right there, and when you get back, we're going to really just go at it. We're going to talk about this, okay? Hello, and welcome back. We're talking about when your kindness is being taken advantage of. All of us have been, in one way or another, have had our kindness taken advantage of. I'm pretty much, as you probably can tell from most of the shows, I'm kind of mild-mannered, and I'm what people consider nice. And I kind of smile at that because I like my qualities. I mean, this is how God made me. And people are always saying, you're just too kind. And I just don't go for that. I don't think that anyone can be so kind. I think now the problem exists with other people when they come across kind people. You know, Maya Angelou said that you may not control what others do, but you can control make sure that does not reduce what you do. So it means pretty much is that when things happen, we can't control what things or what other people do, but how you react to those things, that's what's really, really important. And most of all, you don't want to be reduced down to what other people are trying to do. And the reason I said that and why that just kind of resonated with me was that when people take advantage of me or they try to take advantage of me, I kind of feel a certain way, and we're going to talk about that feeling. But I can't let that change me because, after all, I am who I am, and the problem is with other people. I had this, and I'm just going to start out with this example of how I was taken advantage of. And this happened when I first moved to Atlanta. This was like in the mid-90s. I had a friend that was already living here, a really close friend. I was happy. She was excited that I was moving to Atlanta, and I was excited too. And so after I had been here and kind of settled in for maybe about 2 months, we decided to go shopping. And she was like, come on, let's go shopping. And we went shopping to one of the local malls on the north side, and we spent all day there. And then we went into this particular shop for women, and we were shopping, and I was just having a good time being with her, thinking she was having a good time being with me. And so we were trying on different outfits, and she was getting some things, and then I was getting some things. And she asked me, she says, you know, this is one of your favorite stores, right? And I answered, I was like, yes, this is one of my favorite stores. And then she says, well, you have a card, right? You have a card to the store. And I, not thinking, I said, yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite stores. I used to shop back home in the same store, so I do have a card. I love getting the discounts that the card offers, because you get special discounts for having a card at this store, you know, special deals that no one else really gets. And so I said, yes, I have a card. So then she has all of these clothes in her arm, and she says, then she asked me this question, this gigantic question. She asked me if I could put her items on my card. And she says, you got enough on your card to pay for these things, and I'll pay for you later? And me being the type of person I am, I mean, this is a friend, a close friend of mine, and I had no reason to mistrust her, but I said, yeah, because that's what I would do. I said, yes, I'll do it for you. And she said, you know, she told me she'll pay me back later. She's like, you know, you get the special discounts and all, and I'll pay you. Well, months went by, and she didn't. And I felt like I was taken advantage of. And she did it that time, and she's done it to me again. And I've let it. But I've stopped it. And that's what we're going to talk about. When people are taking advantage of you, how you can stop it. Because, as I said, being nice, being kind, that's okay. It's okay to be that way. It's just, at one point, you got to develop this courage to tell people that, and to confront them, to let them know that, hey, you can't take advantage of me anymore. And sometimes if you're not strong enough to say that, then we're going to talk about maybe some other things that you can do. So I just wanted to tell you that because it was really, really cute. And I was having this other incident going on now in my life where I was feeling this certain way. And I was like, and so it just brought back this feeling, and I thought that we should talk about it because this is an issue that not only I go through, a lot of people go through it. I was talking to my daughters, I'm always talking to them, and they have incidents too where some of they just feel like their friends are taking advantage of them, always asking, hey, are you driving to such and such? Can I ride with you? And it seems like they're always driving, and the other person, even though she has a car, she's not driving. And so my daughter was like, Mom, you think she's taking advantage of me? And I said, well, it seems like she is. Seems like you need to have that talk. And it seems as though it's a shame that we have to have that talk with some people. It seems like they should just know. I mean, it's like I think just a common sense of that you give and then the other person give in a relationship. It should be 50-50. It shouldn't be, 90-10. Or as Teddy Pendergrass says, it should be 60-40, where you're giving 60% and the other person's giving 40%. It's just not right. But a lot of times, that happens. Some people just are selfish in a way. And that's one of the characteristics of a person who wants to take advantage of a person, is that it can be summed up into two things. One is the person is very selfish. They're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about how this may be hurting your relationship or the friendship. They're not thinking about that. They're just thinking about getting their needs met at that particular time. And then the other thing, of course, would be if a person who's trying to take advantage of you or a situation all the time, then this person may have a personality disorder. So I'm kind of jumping the gun of where I want to go, but we'll come back to that. But right now, I want to talk about me, Mary J., and how I think people, why, sometimes they've been able to take advantage of me and take my kindness for a weakness. And I really don't like that. And I don't think that I should even feel this way. Because basically, as I said, my characteristics, I'm generally a nice person. And people they'll try to say, well, if you're nice, that means you want to make people happy. I mean, it's nice, that's part of it. If you want to make people happy, it's not like I wake up every day and say, hey, I want to make someone happy, take advantage of me. No, that's my characteristic. One time I was in this workshop with this group of people, I've forgotten what job it was, and we were talking about I think it's a compass, we were giving the compass personality test, the north, south, east, and west, where we were giving the different characteristics of what if your personality type was a north, a south, or east, or west. And basically, just generally, north are normally the most aggressive people. They're looked at being leaders. And some other characteristics, but that's how they're hard. They're just, as I said, aggressive and leaders. And then on the opposite of the spectrum are the southern people that are nice, gentle and kind. They want to please people. And so we had been in this workshop for a whole week. And then this particular day, the facilitator thought that we would take this personality compass test. So we took the test, and he asked us, what do we think we are? And I said that was north. And one of the girls, in my group, she was like, she is way off, talking about me. She says, she's not a north. And I was like slightly offended because I think that I'm a leader. I think I show aggression, not a negative aggression, but aggressive in trying to accomplish something. So I do show those type of characteristics. But yet I did have some really strong characteristics of being a South, labeled as a South, where I am nice, I am gentle. I do like to, I guess, please people in a way. So I guess you probably consider I'm North-South, if that's it. But it was funny to me that she says, no way can she be a North. She's a South. And she just labeled me based on me being courteous and nice throughout the workshop. And so sometimes, those tests just don't, measure up those personality tests. But needless to say, the facilitator said he had been watching me throughout the entire week, and he says, you know what? She's a North. Because she is a leader. When it was time to do things, she took control and was telling you to do this and for her to do that and that type of thing. And she was like, hey, we only have 10 minutes, let's do this. And that's what I was doing in the conference, in the meeting. So I was showing signs of that, although I have these other characteristics of being nice and gentle. And so with me, this niceness and gentleness that some of us have, as I said, is a very good quality. people see that as a weakness and they want to take advantage of it. And as I said, we don't want to be taken advantage of. And it's not like we wake up and say, hey, take advantage of me. It just kind of happens. And when it happens, when you or me, myself, when we're taken advantage of, sometimes we feel powerless. We just feel like, where is the power? Especially when that niceness, it seems to be the dominant factor or the characteristic of you that you have. You feel powerless. Like, what can I do? Because I really don't want to hurt this person. I really am the type that want to help out. You asking me for a ride, I do want to take you. I do want to pick you up. I do want to bake that cake that you need. I do want to go visit you at the hospital. That's just, the character we want to do, and nothing's wrong with that. But when we're taken advantage of, we do feel powerless. And then sometimes we feel misunderstood because we are who we are, and God made all of us so different. And then for you to take advantage of a person because they're this way, then that makes that person feel very, very, misunderstood. Like, something's wrong, and it shouldn't be that way. And then most of all, this person feels disrespected. Like, I am this way, but you're taking advantage of me. Then that's very disrespectful. And as I said, it goes back to the person who's taking advantage of, that's doing the taking advantaging, because they're disrespecting you. And then it's just this feeling of doubt. When you're being taken advantage of, you have this doubt of, you start doubting yourself. And is something wrong with me? I did this earlier show when I was saying that I spoke up at the school board meeting, and then it was questioned, am I the type to speak up? And because I show this side of being nice and kind and just kind of going along with things, because that I found that works. And that's, as I said, that's how God made me. But you're starting me to doubt, should I not do this? Should I be this way? Because you're deciding to take advantage of me? I really don't understand that. So it kind of hurts when people take advantage of you. And because they really just don't, they just, like I said, the problem lies with them. And then when we're taken advantage of, we go into this state of avoidance. I know with me, I'll start avoiding a person rather than just confronting it, because I don't like confrontations unless I just really have to. I just don't think anything positive comes from a confrontation. Although some people say, oh, girl, you need to just, talk it through and let that person know what's on your mind. And once you do that, it's going to be all solved. But I just kind of think that people just should know. To me, I just really do. So I don't think I want to confront people, but you'll see near the end of the show, I'm going to tell you, we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to solve it. But basically, I start avoiding you. And sometimes if you have a good friend, and you've been a friend for a while, you don't need to avoid that person. And that's not a good thing. You just need to probably speak up at that moment. So when you're being taken advantage of, sometimes like I said, you want to start avoiding that person. And then sometimes it builds up. It builds so much that you become upset. And then you show this type of aggression toward the other person. You may have a serious argument. And then you'll wake up the next day regretting that you had this argument, because it's just not in your character to do this, but it seems like this person pushed you past your limit. So being taken advantage of is just not nice, and it doesn't really have there's just nothing good is going to come out of it. So the steps we need to take when we feel that we're being taken advantage of, first we need to just think about it. We need to just really just kind of, what they say, meditate on things. Think about how you're feeling at this moment. Think about what is occurring, like when my friend asked me to buy her purchases with my card. I have to think about that. Just think, how did it make me feel? Did it take away something from me, my self-esteem? Did it put doubt in me? You got to think about that. And then you just kind of hold on to that. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to think about things that you might have lost in maybe spending time with this person. For instance, if a person's always asking, can you pick me up? and take me to work. You know, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you come over? Can you come bake my cake? When they're asking you stuff like this over and over again, you need to think about, what are you losing? Are you losing time, quality time with your family? Should you be reading a book? Should you be in class somewhere, but you're spending all this time? Is it your time that you have your daily meditation? Are they just taking things from you? So your time is valuable. And as soon as you realize that your time is valuable, then you're going to probably say, hey, you know, I need to put it into this because I'm actually losing and this other person is gaining. And that's not good either. And so once you do that, so then you're thinking about how you felt. You're thinking about what you're losing. And then the third thing is you want to think about, is this something that happens over and over again to you? Because if it happens over and over again to you, then yeah, you need to adjust some things. I was in the store the other day, and like I said, I'm basically nice, and I let people, I shouldn't, but I sometimes was just like, okay, that's just, you know, I'm just going to let that pass because I try to avoid confrontation. I was in the, I think Kroger. I was getting some vegetables. I was at the sweet potatoes in the little area where the sweet potatoes was just as small as this area in front of me. And I was selecting the ones that were kind of pretty. And this lady just kind of came behind me and she reached over. She reached over me as I was selecting mine and she started getting hers. And I thought that was so inconsiderate and rude. And I thought, at that moment, it did hit me that I was taken advantage of. So I kindly did address her in a really nice way. I just asked her, was it possible for her to just wait to let me finish? And so, I mean, that's one case of how people can take advantage of you. And then sometimes if I'm in a store and I know something is on sale, a person, you know, I may ask the sales clerk, is this item on sale? And they're like, no, that was last week. You know, if things like that happen to you all the time and you accept it, then you may have a problem with letting people take advantage of you. So you're going to have to, like I said, this third step is you're going to recall all the times that you were taken advantage of. And you're just going to think about those. And then it's just, you're just going to dwell on, not dwell, but you're going to think on those things and know and realize that you need some help on this. And step number four is when you're going to actually help yourself because no one else can do it. You're going to have to help yourself. You're going to have to speak up. Not in a negative way, not in an aggressive way. If you care about the friendship, if you care about the person who's taken advantage of you, just have this conversation. Sometimes if it's hard for you to start this conversation going, it's good sometimes just to ask a simple question. To say, well, how would you feel if I did this to you? And just be quiet. Don't say anything else. How would you feel if I did this to you? And in most cases, that person is going to answer. And when that person starts answering, it kind of gives you power inside. That now, this person is feeling a little bit, maybe, I mean, if this person cares about you, loves you, or cares about you, that now this person is starting to feel a little bit how you're beginning to feel. And so that gives you that power that now you can be brave a little bit to solve the problem. So when they give you this answer and they're starting to answer it, then you just go on a little bit and you tell them how you feel about it. And you're trying to solve this problem of taking advantage of. Because it's not a good thing. It's not a good feeling. As I said, it happens to me a whole lot of people taking my kindness for weakness. And I realize, I really do, that the problem is not me, it's them. But I do have to speak up because some people just, you know, that's it. They just don't think about it. And when you mention it to them, they're like, oh, okay. Then they make that adjustment. But if you never say anything, they're just going to keep on and on and on. Not, in some cases, not that they're being mean. They just never thought of it. They're just, some people are selfish, as I said. Some people are, the other personality trait that I want to talk about is some people have disorders in their personality. They already want to be, you know, they're conniving and they want to be manipulating and they just want to do that. And then sometimes they see you as being weak and they just go all the way home with that. So we definitely have to be aware when that's going on and have the courage. And that reminds me of one of my favorite movies. It's one of my movies I've watched when I was a kid, since a kid. It was, and they just did a modern version of this, of Cinderella. And this version, Cinderella said her mom said that, you know, you can survive in life if you have courage and if you're kind. And maybe that's why I love that movie, because I think everybody just needs to be kind. But then sometimes that kindness, as I said, is taken for weakness and you're taken advantage of. And if that's the case, then you got to have that courage that courage to say, hey, you can't do this to me anymore. I won't allow you to do this because it's just not making me happy. It's hurting me. And if you care anything about me, then you don't want to hurt me. So speak up, okay? So we've gone over some of the things that you need to do if you feel that you're the victim, and actually it is. You are a victim if someone is taking advantage of you, because you're the one that's being affected, you're the one that's being hurt, you're the one that something's being done to you that's not very welcomed, so you are a victim. And so what you want to do is like any other type of therapy. The first thing is you sit down and you think about what exactly is going on. How does this make me feel when this occurs? Definitely it doesn't make you feel good when you're being taken advantage of. It didn't make me feel good. And it still doesn't make me feel good when I'm taken advantage of. Sometimes when I'm at school and I'm with my students, I'm very kind and loving to them, but yet I'm very stern in a way. But sometimes the sternness, I'll just kind of put down, just let it down, my guard down for a minute, and boy, I can see them rising up. And then I have to get stern again with them. And it's like they take that kindness for weakness, and it's just not good. And I'm just giving you that example of that. But sometimes an example in real life with your family, with your friends, and it shouldn't be that way. And as I said, nothing's wrong with you. It definitely shouldn't be that way. But sometimes people just don't see it. So as I said, the first step, you want to just kind of, identify how you feel when you're being taken advantage of. And then you want to think about what you're losing when you're being taken advantage of. Is it taking away your time, as I said, from your family, from your spouse, from you empowering yourself? Is it taking away valuable time? And then you want to think about other times that you've been taken advantage of to see if this is something that happens over and over again. If it happens over and over again, then yes, there is something that you need to adjust with yourself, within yourself. You want to address it with the other. You want to address it with yourself first of all, and then you want to address it with the other person or persons that's doing the taking advantage of. And because you don't want to, as I said, don't want to get to the point where you're avoiding a certain person or a situation, and then in that case, you're cheating yourself. Let's just say if you like going bowling, but there's someone there at the center that takes advantage of you all the time, and you just decide, hey, I'm not going to go bowling because I'm going to run into this person, then you're hurting yourself by avoiding that. So you have to kind of hit it head on. You just got to just deal with the problem and not avoid it. So avoidance is definitely not a good thing. And then, like I said, when we avoid it, then sometimes if the person or persons or even the place is not something that you really want, then sometimes we just have to write it off. We just have to just count it as a loss and go our separate way. And that's going to be okay too. So mainly we want to make sure that we are always in control. We don't want other people to control ourselves, because like they're saying, the saying goes, that we can't control what other people do, but we do have the power to control our choices. So it's okay to say, when someone's asking you for a ride and you don't have time, it's okay to say, your choice is, hey, I'm sorry, I've got something very important to do. I'm not going to be able to take you for a ride. That's very important. So we can control ourselves, our choices that we make, because otherwise it's going to look as though your choice is to be taken advantage of, and of course it's not. Okay, now this brings me also, I want to tell you about this other time I was taken advantage of, and it was not very good, but it was, I learned from this. And we all learn from, when we are being taken advantage of, we can just, it's like a light going off that, hey, this person didn't have my best interests in mind. Or no, they didn't, did they? So back when I was in college, I got all of these college stories. My girlfriend was asking me, I was working in one department, and she was like, hey, I need a pair of shoes. And I was like, okay, well, I work in the shoe department. And she was like, but you have and this is way before they had the little scanners and different things like that. And she says, well, do you think that being that you're in charge of the shoe department, you're the shoe manager, can you mark these shoes down? And I said, no, I can only mark things down when the store tells me to. And she's just like, well, I'm your friend. I think that you can. I was like, I don't think so. And so she kind of stopped talking to me based on that because I didn't do what she wanted me to do. Now, you can look at this at all other kind of, different ways, but what I saw was that she was, and not just that with the shoes, it was sometimes like around lunchtime when it was time for us to go to lunch. We didn't necessarily eat on campus. I had the car. She was always in the car with me, driving off campus, going to get something to eat. And then sometimes I would be buying the food, it seems, thinking back. And now that I'm telling you all this, it just seems like I was taken advantage of, and I did find out. But she was always going with me, and I was always the one that was giving, and she was never giving. She was always asking and taking and taking and taking. And it shouldn't be like that in relationship. Relationships should be 50-50. You never should make someone feel as though they are always giving, because it's just not a good feeling. When she was doing that, I just couldn't understand why would a close friend do that to me. It just wasn't the right thing to do. And so, needless to say, it hurt me because we had been friends all throughout college. I had to let that friendship go because it just wasn't healthy for me to have a friend that was always taking and never giving, taking advantage of me. As I said, kindness, your personality, if it's being gentle, if it's being kind, if you're a caring person, that's a good thing. We need more people like you and myself in this world. We really do. That's a good thing. Nothing's wrong with that. We've just got to convince the people who want to take advantage of the kindness, to take advantage of your gentleness, to take advantage of when you say, yes, I will do this. We've got to convince them to get on board because it's wrong. It just does not feel good. So we need to always remember that what Maya Angelou said, just part of what she said, we can't control all these the other events. We can't control that. But we can control, and I'm saying this, we can control what we do. So we just have to and it's okay to be kind, but we've got to get this courage to handle the situation, look it right in the eye and say, you know what, I'm not going to be taken advantage of anymore. I don't feel good when I'm being taken advantage of. I mean, who would? I know I don't. I don't feel good when I'm being taken advantage of. So you got to stand up and say, you know what, this is not going to happen anymore. Not to me. I'm going to stand up for myself because if you're not respecting me, then I'm going to respect myself. And to respect myself means I'm not going to allow you to mistake my friendship, my gentleness. You're just not going to do that anymore. That's just the best thing. And we don't need people giving us a sense of doubt, doubting who we are. Should we be this way? No, don't do that. God made you who you are. He gave you those characteristics because He wanted you to have those. He wanted me to be the way that I am. So I can't be no other way. I mean, I can speak up for myself, but He didn't make me to be mean and tough and violent. I mean, that's someone else. That's not Mary. That's not Mary J. So I can't be that way. So I decided to step up and not let people take advantage of me. And the only way you can step up is just to open your mouth. I did a show on empowerment. You got to be empowered. And that's part of that growing state. You got to say, hey, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to doubt who I am. But I know it's like my mom said, if you see a snake, you didn't call it a snake. So it is what it is. Okay? When you see these people who are selfish, people with mental or, as I said, personality disorders, then you call it like that, okay? So in the days, no more being taken advantage of. You're just not going to have people taking advantage of your kindness. Those days are over, okay? Because you are special. We are all special, and kind is good. So listen, I've enjoyed talking to you about this. I've grown, as I said, I've grown in just talking to you, and I hope that I've said something to help you. Thank you. I'll see you next time.